All right, welcome into Reiter's Block, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook Watch. I'm Bill Reiter. Thank you for being here and hanging out. We got a great show for you. Dodgers outfielder and rookie phenom Alex Verdugo is going to be on the program. Our Vegas insider Todd Fuhrman, and we're going to take a look at Kawhi Leonard's excellence and why, for his own legacy, for his own sake, he's got to finish the deal against the Bucks. It all starts right now. All right, Kawhi Leonard has utterly and totally taken over the Eastern Conference Finals. His Raptors team now a game away from a final showdown against the Warriors, in large part because Kawhi has been an absolute stud. Just last night, 35 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, which is a career playoff high for him, 44% from the field, 63% from the three-point line, and he was awesome in the fourth quarter. But here's the thing. This should be a requirement for Kawhi Leonard if he wants to be regarded with the same level of praise and excellence and respect that a lot of the stars around the NBA want to be regarded with. And this is the reason why. LeBron James got crushed when he went to Miami as a free agent. Crushed when he went to the Lakers as a free agent. Kevin Durant was absolutely ostracized around the media by fans, and he's still feeling all the feels when he decided as a free agent to go to the Warriors. Kawhi Leonard forced his way out of the most successful organization in this century in basketball and landed on an Eastern Conference team that had the most wins of any team in the East last year. He should be judged by that same superstar standard. You don't want to be the villain. You don't want to be the bad guy. You don't want all of us, and me certainly in particular, from my own perspective, to look back at that divorce with Pop and the Spurs and to blame him. Then you need to make an NBA Finals. You're a star, you forced your way out, you didn't live up to your contract or your word, and you went to a hell of a basketball team. And it looks like he's going to get there. But that's the standard we would judge LeBron by. That's the standard we would judge Kevin Durant by. And Kawhi Leonard is every bit as talented and capable of pulling this off as those guys are. Unless you think I'm overreacting, that there wasn't any acrimony, that people that matter in the NBA haven't questioned Kawhi and his place in the game, let me remind you of something Greg Popovich said at a podium, a shot he took at Kawhi earlier this year.
Kawhi was a great player, but he wasn't a leader or anything. You know, Manu and Patty were the leaders. So Kawhi's talent would always be missed, but that leadership wasn't his deal at that time. You know, that may come as he progresses.
Well, so far, Kawhi's living up to not just the idea of his talent, but of leadership and being a leader for this Raptors team. But that's Greg Popovich taking a shot at his former star, and that is a direct challenge to how we regard Kawhi Leonard. Winners get praised, losers get criticized. That's the nature of life. That's the nature of sports. And so far, it's Kawhi who is silencing his critics, including guys like Greg Popovich. Consider this. Consider a few things. Let's start with this. Kawhi Leonard is just the 6th player in postseason history with at least 7 35-point games prior to the NBA Finals. That list that he has joined after last night's game, Elgin Baylor, Bernard King, a guy named Michael Jordan did it 3 times, Hakeem Olajuwon, and LeBron James did it 3 times. And there's more evidence of Kawhi's utter greatness so far this season. His leadership, his excellence, his style of play, being the catalyst for the Raptors, maybe coming out of the East. Still a couple games to go. I know they just need to win one. Players to average 30 points over the course of a single playoffs and have a true shooting percentage of 63 or better, minimum 10 games, include Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, superstar, Kevin Durant, superstar, LeBron James, probably the best player of all time, if not named Michael Jordan, and you guessed it, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi has been absolutely extraordinary, and he is the reason, he is the guy, he's cost me a lot of money too because I've kept betting against him. Kawhi Leonard is the reason this Raptors team is on the verge of making the finals, and he is that close. One game in Toronto, or if they somehow lose that, go back to Milwaukee and do what they did last night, but one win away from making good on all the drama that he pulled with the Spurs, his refusal to play, the idea that some people think that he faked an injury. None of it matters. If you win, winners write their own history. And part of the reason Kawhi is winning is not just the offensive end. He has been a dominating machine and not just slowing down, but really in a lot of ways stopping the Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's probably going to be named most valuable player after the finals. Consider this. Giannis's points per 100 possessions per defender look a little bit like this. Kawhi Leonard holds him to 16 points per 100 possessions. The next nearest guy, Blake Griffin, at over 31 points per game. Kawhi Leonard is literally, by a wide margin, twice as good as anybody else in the NBA at stopping Giannis from doing what he's been doing. Kawhi is an absolute star. He's an MVP-level player. He's been a Finals MVP. He's a champion, and his teammates know it. They can sense it. They can feel it. They've rallied around it. A lot of clips we could play, but we'll go with Kyle Lowry, who talked after the win about how ridiculous, and the word superstar comes up, how ridiculous a superstar Kawhi Leonard really is.
He's been doing it all playoffs. He went into ISO and get to your spot, and it was pretty impressive. The game he played tonight, 35, 9, and 7, it was a pretty good game. It was a pretty good game on the big stage, on the road. Superstar.
Can't argue with the thing that he said. Kawhi Leonard's a superstar, and superstars have always been judged by a higher standard. If you do not get it done, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, you're going to be criticized, and you should be. If you pull some kind of a move that puts people off, LeBron James, though again, he was a free agent. Kevin Durant, same thing, and you don't win, you're going to be criticized. If you do win, again, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, most people are going to forget about it. They're going to forgive. They're going to focus on your greatness. Kawhi Leonard deserves the exact same scrutiny for forcing his way out of the most successful and most impressive NBA culture in the last 20 years. And if he still overcomes that exit, if he goes to this Toronto team, and they had a lot of resources, they won 57, 58 games last year, and he makes an NBA Finals, for me that's enough, then the guy deserves for all of us to forget about the divorce and to look at him like a superstar worthy of pulling whatever shenanigans he wants to, because in the end, this is what it's about, because in the end, he'll be a stone-cold winner with or without Greg Popovich. We're gonna hit a bunch of stuff here on the show. Alex Verdugo, Dodgers outfielder, fantasy baseball owners like me, go see if that guy's available in your league. He's an absolute stud. We're gonna talk to the Dodgers rookie here on the show in just a minute from Los Angeles, California, when we come back to Writer's Block. All right, welcome back into Writer's Block, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook. Watch, I'm Bill Reiter, and if you listen to the radio show that I host on CBS Sports Radio, you know one of my favorite young players in the game, a guy that I've talked about a lot, is Alex Verdugo, the Dodgers outfielder, and we're really thrilled he joins us right now. Alex, congrats on your success so far this year, and thanks for making time.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
So you've had a couple short stints in the majors before this year. This year, obviously, you're getting a lot of playing time. How have those brief appearances with this Dodgers ball club prepared you for the success you're having so far this season?
Really, for me, it's just, kind of learned just in the past, in 17 and 18, just learned how veteran guys did it. I had a different role. I had to really just come off the bench or pinch hit role, so it was a little bit tougher. It was my first time I had to go through that. So just kind of saw how the veterans handled it, how they got ready for it, and, their mindsets about it. So once I kind of made that switch, it just, I've seen results this year, and then obviously with AJ going down, turned me into more of a starter.
Yeah, gave you the opportunity. How much is it front of mind for you, Alex, that you want to do whatever you can to try to make it really hard for Dave Roberts to take your bat and take your arm and your defense in that outfield out of the lineup every day?
Yeah, I mean, I just try to take advantage of any opportunity that I get out there. And even if I'm not hitting some days, I want to help defensively, either make a play for the pitcher or a game-saving play, just anything you could do. So for me, it's not just about hitting; it's about everything. Even if I get walked, then I'm on the bases and I score a run or something. So it's just anything I could do to just to get our team winning.
Alex, I'm a really terrible dancer, which does not apply to you. We've seen the videos. We've seen you and Kershaw, and the guys in your clubhouse have talked about the joy that you play with. We've seen the moves. How long has for you the joyousness we see been a part of your approach to the game and a part of your success so far in your career?
I think it's always been there. Ever since I was a little kid playing. just, I used to dance in the outfield, when I was a little kid. So finally, I stopped doing that and just kind of stuck to doing it in the dugouts. But no, it's just, for me, I have fun when I'm out here. This is there's nowhere else I'd rather be. So just every time I'm out here, I'm happy, and I know you're going to struggle. I know there's going to be tough times, but, you just try to stay positive, and I want to keep the guys, loose, keep them having fun, and, we're going to be in this season for a long one. So.
All right, you've got dance moves. You've shown us that Kershaw has dance moves. Besides you two guys, who's the best dancer in that Dodger clubhouse? And you can sell somebody out here. We won't tell anybody. Who's the worst dancer in that Dodgers clubhouse?
Oof. I got to give Kike probably Kike is a really good dancer. He moves his hips real well. And then I got Belly being the worst dancer.
I love it. Hey, obviously your teammate Rich Hill didn't love the shift the other day, but it's been a different story for you. You're hitting almost 400 against the shift this season. What is it that you do? What is your approach when you go up there and you see defenses doing that to you, that you've had so much success?
For me, it's just really see the ball, hit it where it's pitched. If the defenses shift a little bit towards up the middle and they're leaving, shortstop open or the left side open, I try not to try to see the ball deeper, just let it get to me, and then really at the last minute just punch it through that hole. And I found some success that way, and then then after that, then I try to take my chance where hey, I'll try to do a little bit more damage, and maybe I'll smoke one to the shift, and then I'll go back to my normal approach, like, man, we got to get another knock. Let's go.
We've seen around the majors guys taking big swings throughout the entirety of the count, swinging for the fences and striking out, and that not being a big issue. And certainly Cody Bellinger's taken another approach this year with 2 strikes, has shortened up his swing, and obviously the guy's having a historical run. Do you think what Cody has done with 2 strikes does that speak to a philosophy in that Dodgers clubhouse beyond what he's up to? Do you think there's a chance we'll see more guys in baseball doing what he's been doing with 2 strikes?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we see that. It's just, I'm a big believer in early in the counts. You could take your chance, take your shot, take your big swing, and go for it. But once you get to 2 strikes, I feel like you got to choke up or shorten up, and just really try to focus on putting the barrel on the ball. Just stay short to it, and for me, just there's nothing worse than striking out. So. I'd rather have a swinging bunt, and at least somebody's got to field it and throw me out. So for me, and for Cody, like you said, and for everybody, I think it speaks volumes on the Dodgers and kind of how we don't like to strike out. So we're up there to battle.
All right, Alex. Last question for you. It's obviously early in the season, but your name has certainly been bandied about as a Rookie of the Year candidate. How much does something like that accolade stay front of mind for motivation, or do you ignore that as you try to go about your business and have the best season and be the best Dodger you can be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's way too early to be talking about Rookie of the Year. We're still. I mean, it's not way too early, but that's something we can discuss in August, or September, something like that. When you have 400, 500 at bats, 300, whatever it is. But I'm gonna go out there every day, just play hard, play the ball that I play, and really just try to help this team win. And if the numbers are there at the end of the year, then we'll see what we get.
Alex Verdugo, your Dodgers team has the best record in the National League. You're having a great season. Your teammates are having a great season. Very cool of you to make the time. Thank you. Thanks to the Dodgers, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, guys.
Alex Verdugo on the show. All right, so it's probably too late, fantasy owners, but if he's available in a good chunk of leagues still. If Alex Verdugo is available in your league, I've got him on both. I think both of my fantasy teams. In fact, I know that I do. that is a guy that is worth going and taking a serious look at. He has an OPS above 900. He has the 5th highest WAR in the National League. Maybe it's even in baseball. The guy's stolen a couple bases. His on-base percentage, especially if you're in an on-base percentage league, is really high. I'm telling you, this dude is a really promising young player and hitting well against the shift. By the way, something that Bellinger's done incredibly well this year. Talked to people around baseball. I actually called a Dodger source on the way in just sort of figure out what to ask Alex. And they told me what he's doing against the shift speaks to how good of a hitter he is so early in his career. So those of you looking for some fantasy help, Alex Verdugo, I'm telling you, this guy has got an absolute ton of upside. Really appreciate his time. Thank you to the Dodgers. We're going to go from one great guest to another. Todd Fuhrman, our Vegas insider, going to join me here on the show. Writer's block from Los Angeles, California, when we come back on this Friday here in just a minute. All right, welcome back into Writer's Block, presented by Stefan versus the Game on Facebook. Watch on Bill Reiter. Let's be honest, I'm on a brutal gambling losing streak. It happens. It's a cold streak. It's painful. So we're going to turn to Todd Fuhrman to help you make some money because I'm not doing any good. This is the man behind the Bet the Board podcast, friend of the show, gambling insider based in Vegas. Called up with Todd earlier for a little bit of help out of my funk. I think you'll find some things you want to hear. For those of you like me looking to know where to put your money, here's that conversation from earlier today. All right, Todd Fuhrman, I need some advice here, man. I'm on like a 4-game cooler. Is there anything I could? You're probably not a lucky rabbit's foot kind of guy. Do I just sit out a few bets? Give me some advice here when you start to run badly.
You know what, Bill? There's nothing wrong with taking a mental health day in this business. If it's always a question, though, are the games going kind of the way you saw fit and you're just losing in bad beats at the end of the game? If that's the case, keep grinding through it. But if your reads are completely off, for example, if you laid 7.5 with the Bucks in Game 5 and they lose the game outright, then it might be something more along the lines of I need to reassess exactly what I'm looking at and come back with a fresh perspective. Because the joy in this business, Bill, there's always another bet to make tomorrow.
I know that's part of the problem is that I need some reassessment time. So I'm going to let you reassess for me. Let's just start with Game 6 going back to Toronto. Obviously, Raptors up in the series 3-2. Look really good on the road. They might look even better at home. I think the latest line I saw, Todd, is Toronto -2. What do you see in this game?
Well, it's crazy. If you look at some of the swings as far as series price is concerned, Milwaukee, when they went up 2-0, looked to have a commanding lead. They were a $6.70 favorite. You had to put up $6.70 to make $1 coming back. Now on the heels of a 3-game losing streak, the Bucks are a 2-1 underdog just to advance. And what's crazy about the Game 6 number, Bill, when we looked at Game 4, the Bucks closed a 2.5-point favorite after opening a 1-point favorite on the road. Now you're seeing the Raptors as a 2.5-point favorite. That's essentially a 5-point move as much on perception and situation as anything else. I know the Bucks have struggled over the last 3 games, but has that much really changed as far as an overall power number is concerned? I'm not quite sure that's the case. Giannis has to step up, though, and he's got to play the final 3 minutes. You don't go to the bench if you're the face of a franchise and a superstar. Let's just hope that Coach Budenholzer doesn't decide to put Brook Lopez on Kawhi Leonard, because clearly that was a catalyst in Toronto's run to start the fourth quarter.
All right, so last year when I actually knew what I was doing in sports gambling, I parlayed the Warriors and the Cavs to make the finals when they were both down in their conference finals, and then parlayed into that the Warriors winning the whole thing. So it was a nice little payday. I felt like there was some value there when Houston got up in that series. Do you see any value betting a team like the Bucks to win the whole thing? I think Westgate has them at 7-1. Or is it still the smart money if you're going to make a bet on the actual outcome of the NBA Finals, be putting all your money on Golden State?
No, honestly, Bill, I think if you believed in the Bucks before, now they're going to face adversity for the first time this postseason. And if you can grab that price at 7-1, I think it's worth a small investment. Because if they're able to win Game 6 on the road in hostile territory, I think they'll have all the momentum in the world and confidence going home for a pivotal Game 7. And then if they were to ultimately close out the Raptors, they get to the NBA Finals, assuming that Kevin Durant's not only out for Games 1 and 2, but going to be out a much longer period of time. You're talking about the Warriors only about a $2 favorite. So there's an excellent opportunity to hedge against that, play some middles. So I think it's worth betting the Bucks at 7-1. If you believed in them before, don't let this 3-game losing streak get you off that ledge.
All right, I'm thinking about it, but you know how it is. I had a couple bad beats, and then it just all fell apart. It was just bad decision making, Fuhrman. Something that I'm sure in your profession you've learned to just gird yourself against in beautiful Las Vegas. Outside of the NBA, we've got a pretty big race this weekend. We've got some hockey going on. Do you see any bets for us casual gamblers where you think there's some value? And if we maybe, guys like me, want to move away from the NBA and just get a fresh look at something, I might think about putting my money this weekend.
Well, you have the greatest spectacle in racing taking place Sunday, weather permitting, from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Indy 500. Now, I know the race has lost some of its luster over the years, but when you look at the value it provides bettors, this is one of the best races to try and get involved in because you can pick a handful of drivers at advantageous prices and be able to profit in a variety of scenarios. So if I'm looking at a favorite, I'm going to go with the pole sitter in Simon Pagenaud. He broke a 21-race winless streak at the Indy Grand Prix. As the build-up to this particular race, the 35-year-old Frenchman has had nothing but good things to say about his car. We're going to get a much better indication after we see some of the results of Carb Day. And if you're looking for a long shot in that 30-1 range, I think Tony Kanaan can be a guy that hits the podium. He may not have enough speed to ultimately win the race, but he's been there and done that. So if you have a shop that's going to offer a top 3 price, maybe even a top 5, I think Tony Kanaan can be your guy. Not as lucrative as a couple years ago when Alexander Rossi won this race on fuel at a price of 65-1.
All right, Todd Fuhrman. You know what? Just talking to you, just having you in my gambling life, I feel better. I feel more confident. I feel ready to go out there, make some bets, snap this brutal losing streak. You are the man. Thank you for bringing that confidence to the show, to me, to everybody watching.
Always a pleasure. And Bill, you know what? If we need to put you on the shrink's couch, my invoice is a lot less than what you're going to pay somebody that's actually got a medical degree to talk you off of that proverbial gambling tilt.
All right, I'll let you know. Usually I just go to this guy named Jim Beam, but I'm not sure that's a great decision as it relates to trying to dodge losing streaks. I might take you up on it. Liquid confidence is always key this weekend. All right, I really hope Fuhrman's just Fuhrman being around is gonna give me a little more confidence, a little more success, because it's time. You're about to hear boos for Bill's big bet of the day. We used to call this Bill's bad bet of the day. We might have to go back to that. I've lost. I thought it was 4 in a row, but my producer told me it's 5. Thank you guys for that information. 5 in a row. I'm on such a brutal, and I'm not just losing. I'm getting destroyed. I'm making bets and I'm off by 25 points. And I know it happens, right? You have these skids, but to be back to 500, to be 18-18 is vicious. So I'm gonna take Todd's advice. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna chill. I know you don't want me to because you should just fade me. If I keep betting and you just go the other direction, it's all gonna work out for you. But I actually do bet my own money on these games, and I was feeling pretty confident. 18-13, and the floor is just falling out from underneath me. So I'm taking a break. By Monday, I'll be ready for some more gambling. Not betting on anything this weekend. I'm hanging out with my wife and my kids. No gambling, which is going to be hard to do because I already feel that itch, but no gambling for me this weekend. Thank you for hanging out here on the show. Appreciate you very much watching CBS Sports HQ and watching this program. We'll be back on Tuesday. No show on Monday for Memorial Day. We'll be back on Tuesday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Writer's Block. Until then, have a great holiday weekend. Thank you for hanging out. And the folks down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida got you covered right now with what is trending in the world of sports.